like, share, subscribe. Shouts out to the Lions Den community. And don't y'all forget to subscribe to the podcast show. Link will be pinned in the top of the chat.
Just name the channel who could bang with us. I'll prove that you are smoking dust. GGB Media is top notch in this game, y'all. You failures only have yourself to blame, y'all. Ticket TV and a weapons make you suckers cry. Why don't you close your channel, crawl into a hole and die? Shout out to those who love our movement, no, we'll never flop until you get your mouth on LGBT. We are the underground outfit, y'all. We built this whole thing by ourselves, no in y'all. Independence start with self-preservation. If you can't take care of self, then how can you build a nation, y'all? Yup, we got that merch for the ladies and yes, we even got that merch for the babies and we got appliances and everything that you will need. We got some banging songs that make anemic haters bleed.
All right, y'all. Press 1 if y'all can hear me in the comments, man. It's going down, you guys. It's going down. It's going down. Y'all press 1 if y'all can hear me in the comments, man. It is going down, you guys. Donald Trump, man. Bruh. It's bad. It is bad right now tonight as we sit right here. As now, ladies and gentlemen, the brother of Jeffrey Epstein has just did a public interview and basically exposed the current president of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump. Now, let me let y'all know what's going on. The man on the right-hand side of your screen is Jeffrey Epstein's brother. His name is Mark Epstein. He just came out and he just exposed the president of the United States of America, and it's over with. And I'm going to tell y'all what's going on. First of all, we have to go back and talk about this situation with Donald Trump denying a close relationship to Jeffrey Epstein. And I will put a link to this article in the description box below this video, but let's get right into it. And yes, it's true. Oh, yes, it's true. Everybody ain't lying, baby. You better believe that. You better bet your bottom dollar on that. I told you, they're all dirty, in my opinion. Every one of them, Democrats and Republicans. You understand what I'm saying? Now let's get right to it. Because Democrats had a chance to unleash all these files too, and they sat on them. You know why? Because in my opinion, it exposes everybody. Let me say this right now to the person who says, am I desperate for views? You didn't say that when I was talking about Sean P. Diddy Combs. So don't bring your bitch ass in here right now saying that now, Mr. Charles Comack. Now know your role and shut your mouth when daddy's talking, boy. Now sit your ass down somewhere. Sit your ass down somewhere. I don't get that many views talking about Donald J. Trump, sir. You sit down somewhere. And shout out to Down the Rabbit Hole News with the donation. She said they all dirty 100. Salute. You already know what it is. And y'all go subscribe to her channel. She got a great channel and she be cooking on this stuff too, keeping that same energy like we supposed to. See, a lot of people out here ducking and dodging this Donald Trump smoke. They have signed and pledged an allegiance to a man. You understand what I'm saying? That's the problem. When you sign and pledge an allegiance to the man, you blind yourself from reality and from truths that can go on. So you put yourself in a box. You understand? Once again, everybody ain't lying. Now, let's get to the article first, and then we're going to let y'all know what's going on with Jeffrey Epstein's brother. Donald Trump, the president of the United States, has been on record not only downplaying, but outright completely downplaying his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Well, he just got exposed tonight. The president of the United States just got exposed, and it's about to be over with. In recent years, current President Donald Trump has repeatedly distanced himself from Jeffrey Epstein, the late financier and convicted sex offender, whose associations with high-profile figures have long been a subject of public fascination and controversy. Despite documented interactions between the two spanning for decades, Donald J. Trump has consistently downplayed the nature of their relationship, emphasizing that they were not close and that he had cut ties with Epstein well before his legal troubles became public. Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein were part of the same affluent social circles in the 1980s and 1990s, particularly in New York and Palm Beach, Florida. The two were photographed together at events, and Trump's name appeared in the Epstein's famous Black Book of Contacts. In a 2002 interview with New York Magazine, Donald Trump described Epstein as a quote-unquote terrific guy and noted that they had known each other for 15 years at that point. He also remarked on Epstein's preference for younger women, a comment that has since drawn scrutiny given Epstein's later convictions for sex trafficking and abuse. Flight logs from Epstein's private plane, dubbed the Lolita Express, also confirmed that Donald J. Trump traveled on the aircraft at least once in 1997, though there is no evidence he visited Epstein's private island, Little St. James, a focal point of allegations against Jeffrey Epstein. Additionally, Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort in Palm Beach, Florida, was mentioned in court documents as a location where Epstein allegedly recruited young women, including Virginia Giuffre, who later became a prominent accuser in Epstein's case. Despite these connections, Donald J. Trump, the president of the United States of America today, has maintained that his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein was superficial. In 2019, following Jeffrey Epstein's arrest on federal sex trafficking charges, Donald J. Trump told reporters, "I knew him like everybody in Palm Beach knew him. He was a fixture in Palm Beach. I had a falling out with him a long time ago. I don't think I've spoken to him for 15 years. Trump has cited an alleged dispute over a real estate deal, specifically a bidding war over a Palm Beach property, as the reason for their falling out, though those details remain vague. In subsequent statements, Donald Trump has doubled down, insisting that he was, quote unquote, not a fan of Jeffrey Epstein, emphasizing that their interactions were limited to social settings only. During a 2020 press conference, when asked about Epstein's associate Ghislaine Maxwell, Donald Trump deflected, saying, "I haven't been following it too much. I just wish her well." Frankly, this comment sparked criticism, but Trump avoided elaborating further on his ties to Jeffrey Epstein. The renewed focus on President Donald Trump's connections to Epstein has been fueled by court documents unsealed in early 2025 related to Virginia Giuffre's defamation lawsuit against Ghislaine Maxwell. These documents reference Donald Trump multiple times, though they do not directly implicate him in Epstein's criminal activities. Giuffre has stated in depositions that she was never directed to engage with Trump, and no credible allegations of misconduct involving Trump and Epstein's victims have been substantiated yet to this point today. Nevertheless, social media posts on platforms like X have kept the topic alive, with users speculating about the extent of their relationship. Some posts highlight old photos or quotes, while others defend Trump, arguing that his acquaintance with Epstein was typical of elite social networks at the time. Critics, however, point to the 2002 New York Magazine quote as evidence of a closer connection than Donald J. Trump, the president of the United States, admits. Donald Trump's denials come in the context of his broader efforts to manage his public image, particularly as he remains a polarizing figure in American politics. By distancing himself from Epstein, Trump seems to avoid being tainted by association with one of the most notorious figures in recent history. His supporters argue that many prominent individuals, from politicians to celebrities, interacted with Epstein without knowledge of his crimes, and Trump's limited contact does not imply complicity. Conversely, detractors question the credibility of Trump's claim of a falling out with Epstein, noting the lack of specifics about the alleged dispute. The fact that Epstein was a frequent presence in Palm Beach, where Trump's Mar-a-Lago is located, raises questions about how distant their relationship really was. Donald Trump's denials of a close relationship with Jeffrey Epstein reflect a broader effort to separate himself from the disgraced financier's legacy. While evidence confirms they interacted socially over the years, no concrete proof suggests that Donald Trump was involved in or aware of Epstein's criminal activities. As public interest and the Epstein network persists, fueled by court documents and online discussions, Donald Trump's statements will likely continue to be criticized and scrutinized. For now, the current president maintains that his connection to Jeffrey Epstein was fleeting and inconsequential, a claim that remains a point of contention in the court of public opinion. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, from the rafters tonight, the brother of the late Jeffrey Epstein has just did a tell-all interview. And in that interview, he just basically exposed that not only was Donald Trump, the president of the United States, very close to Jeffrey Epstein, he had to say this. Roll the tape.
3 guests on this show who either knew Epstein or knew Trump have all used the exact same words to describe Trump and Epstein's relationship over the past week as we've been talking to them and you've heard them. And they have done this totally unprompted. So here is a former Trump business executive, one of Epstein's former girlfriends, and an Epstein accuser who says she had a troubling incident with Trump. They all said the exact same thing here on Out Front. They were best friends. They were best friends.
Was his best friend.
You heard them, and right there, Jack O'Donnell, Trump's former business associate, talking about what Epstein meant to Trump. These are people, right, who each met Epstein and Trump at different times, in different places, and just to state the obvious, in totally different capacities. And yet they all concur on this crucial thing. They say that when they knew them, Trump and Epstein were best friends. So in just a moment, I'm going to speak to Mark Epstein. He is the brother of Jeffrey Epstein, about all of this.
Now, let's talk about this real quick. So, everybody's going to come in here and say, it's so hard, fake news. So Jeffrey Epstein's brother's going to come out alive that he's dead about Donald Trump? Let me make this make sense. Jeffrey Epstein's brother is going to come out here and lie. I want to get this straight now. I want to get y'all lies in a row right now. I want to get all y'all cap, all y'all that's going to duck this story, all y'all that's going to run from this type of smoke, because y'all have pledge of allegiance to a man instead of pledge of allegiance to the truth, honor, dignity, facts, and respect of being a public servant. You understand what I'm saying? And supposed to be a leader amongst the people, right? They sold, go along, get along game. That's what it is now. It's a go along, get along game running around here, right? Go along, get along. Y'all know what it is now. Let's get to it.
The brother of Jeffrey Epstein. And Mark, you know, from what you know, from what you saw, how close was your brother to Donald Trump?
They were very close. They were good friends. Jeffrey used to sometimes tell me things that Donald said that were funny. I know Donald was in Jeff's office a lot back in the 90s. It's documented that Donald flew on Jeff's plane a number of times. I don't know if they ever checked, but I know Jeff flew on Donald's plane. Also, I don't know if they've ever looked at his flight logs. And they were good friends. I mean, I flew on Jeff's plane. It's known I was on the plane in 1999, flying up from Florida, and Donald was with us. You know, we were all joking around. They were good friends.
So, you know, tell me about that. I know there was something on that flight that you remember about your brother and Trump. What is it?
Oh, it was a funny thing. We were talking, and well, stick a pin in that. A couple weeks or a week before that flight, I was talking to Jeffrey, and he told me that he was talking to Donald, and he asked Donald, how come you sleep with so many married women? And Donald's answer was, because it's so wrong. Now, amongst guys, it was a funny line, and then when we were on the plane a week or two later...
Now, let's stop right there. He said that his brother Jeffrey Epstein told him that he asked Trump, hey, man, why you sleep with so many married women since you're this principled man who loves God, Donald J. Trump? And he said, Trump said, hey, because it's so wrong. Now, I want to ask everybody in this comment section that's listening right here, right, to ask you a question. And to the person who says, brother capitalizing for money, excuse me, sir, I ain't asked for no money, and I really don't get no money out of Donald Trump videos, sir. Nobody donates to these videos. They only donate to the Diddy videos and the other videos I do. Nobody donates to these videos, really. One girl sent a $5 donation. Another one sent what, $2? Ain't nobody really donating to these videos. Know your role and shut your mouth when the great one's talking. You know your role and shut your mouth. We don't play no political games over here. I don't care about no allegiance. I don't care about this. I don't care about that. I care about the truth. Donald J. Trump said he wasn't close to this guy, and the man's brother said they were best friends. That's the fourth person that have publicly came out and said they're close, but everybody lying though, right? I know. That's what you want to do. You want to come here and play that game. I ain't ask around. I ain't the one you want to stun on, Paul. I ain't the one. Because I don't care about either side. They all dirty. The Democrats too. Liars, dirty, all filthy system. Point blank, period. Go along, get along games. That's what it is. So you want to ask me what's my point? My point is that the President of the United States of America is being called a straight liar to his face by multiple people who were there. And everybody else in the comment section who's getting upset about this, who wasn't there. It's crazy how you can defend something and you wasn't there, but people who were there and people who are in this man's family are saying something different. Make it make sense. Donald Trump said he was going to release all the files. Why he didn't release them? Now he get in the office. Now we got to play tic-tac-toe with the paperwork. No, release all of it. Be a man. Do what you said you're going to do. Release all of it and let it hang. He don't want to do that though. And neither did the Democrats, neither did Joe Biden, and none of those other cats who was in office when this stuff went down. So in my opinion, they all complicit. If you ain't releasing the information to everybody, if you ain't a part of the solution, you're a part of the problem, in my opinion. Because Joe Biden had a chance to release, but Joe Biden showed he was dirty anyways. That man released his son after his son got convicted in the court of law. How can anybody trust him with anything? How can anybody trust him with anything? Come on now, let's just keep it 100. Let's just keep it 100. We don't play this game over here. This over here, this ain't no pay for play game. No, I don't play that shit. I'm telling you straight the truth. I'm calling it straight like it's supposed to be called. Donald Trump on cap. He said he was gonna release all the files. He ain't did it. Everybody making excuses. Y'all are part of the problem too. On both sides. If you making excuses for the lying ass Democrats, you a problem. If you make an excuse for the lying Republicans, you a problem. You a problem. Everybody trying to protect their interests. How about protecting the truth? How about protecting dignity? How about protecting morals? How about protecting honor? And the person who said that's cap, there's no way you'll let your kid go to jail. Let me tell you something, sir. It's a different situation when you're in a position of leadership. See, you were born and raised different than me. See, my father, he told me, if you don't listen to me, son, your ass is going to get that discipline. It's called the rod of correction. I'm going to tell you something else, too. If you get locked up and you do the crime, your ass is going to do the time. That's how it goes. Joe Biden's supposed to be a leader of men. His son did the crime. His ass need to do the time just like everybody else, son. Why? Because he is not only in a position of leadership, he is the president of the United States of America. So his discernment, his level of leadership is supposed to be on a whole different level than everybody else. This is the same guy you're trusting in world situations. Think about what I just said. I know you don't want to think about it because I come to stir fry. I come to stir fry. I don't come playing no games. I come to stir fry, extra cook on that thing. See, y'all want to play these little games, duck and dodge, smoke. Don't want to talk about one side, don't want to talk about the other side. Both sides is garbage. Because if the Democrats, if they was all so up and up like they is now with the Republicans, the only thing you can get Democrats and some Republicans to agree on right now. They don't agree on nothing else, but right now they all trying to team up for this. But the Democrats was in office. Why didn't Joe Biden release these files like he was supposed to the world? Kind of makes you think, right? So then you see, when you're a leader of the free world, hey man, your family, they have to abide by the law, and they're going to be put on a different pedestal, a different level of having to abide by the law. And if they don't, and you don't punish them, what does that say to everybody else that has to follow the rules? Come on now. That's what you call true leadership, right? So no, sir, you're wrong. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if I walked outside today and I smoked somebody straight like that, my father going to tell me, hey, look, you did the crime. Hey, man, you got to do the time, son. I love you. I'm going to come visit you, but you got to sit your ass in and do that time. Because I already told you, thou shalt not kill. Listen to what I just said to y'all. But I know y'all don't want to listen to that. You guys want to come on here and make excuses. A lot of cats want to duck this smoke. They don't want to tell the truth. Donald J. Trump has said on numerous occasions he didn't have a close relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein's brother came out and said the man said it. And let me say this. Even if y'all don't want to believe he said that, he's on hot mic talking about grabbing by the PUSSYs. Point blank period. I'm telling you what it is. Right? I'm telling you what it is. And I'm just being honest with y'all. And to the person who said they'll be singing a different tune that was their children, no, I wouldn't, because you're raised different. You have a different thought process than me, a different mentality than me. You know, a different mindset than me. See, what the family I come from, the life I come from, ain't no bailouts, ain't no cop-outs. I'm not fitting to sit in the store screaming and hooting and hollering at my parents. If I ain't doing what I'm supposed to do, I'm getting on punishment. There ain't gonna be no cop-outs. See, that's how I was raised. See, this is the difference in how people are raised. While you have some people that grow up to be good, upstanding citizens and do good in life, and you have other people who grow up to be pieces of shit. Because the parenting is either not there or it's bad, it's off, it's flawed. It's garbage. You always bailing your youth out, bailing your kids out. Every time your kid get in trouble, you bailing them out instead of letting them learn a lesson. Which is, if they would have listened to the lessons you taught them growing up, they wouldn't be in that damn situation themselves. And it ain't about you don't love your kids, it's called tough love. See, when I talked all that shit to my father when I was 14, 15 years old, he told me, hey, look, you can do whatever you want to do, but not in this house. You got to leave. I was like, yo, this nigga ain't finna kick me out the house. He said, nah, you can leave for real, for real. I was like, all right, forget it, I'm gone. I went outside, it was freezing outside. I went and sat on the back deck for about 40 minutes. Couldn't take it no more. I came back knocking on the door. He was like, hold on, I thought you said you wanted to do what you wanted to do. You wanted to leave, right? I was like, nah, man, I'm good, man. He said, yeah, you live in this house, you're gonna follow these instructions. But see, a lot of y'all don't live like that. Y'all don't have no leadership, no real structure going on in your household. This is the problem. So y'all come out here in the real world and you allow foolishness like this to live on. And you make excuses and finger point when the finger's pointing at you, when you under the hot mic. Notice that now. And notice how I said it's not just Donald J. Trump. It's all of them. Because Joe Biden had an ample chance to release those files. Why didn't he do it? He could have did that. He was the president of the United States just last year. He could have did that. Why he ain't do it? Because he's flawed. Because he on cap. The same way he showed you when his son got found guilty in a court of law under the justice system. And he bailed that little dude out and let him walk free. Absolutely disgusting behavior. And you got people out here condoning it, talking about, if that was my kid, that's your problem right now. That's why these kids are growing up being 16, 17 years old and ended up in a pine box 6 feet under. Because the parents ain't doing their job good enough. See what I'm saying? See, my father, I thank God I had a great father. He made me afraid to break the rules. Because I was afraid of what was going to happen if I broke the rules. And sometimes I would try them and I get dealt with. Then I went into that rebellion mode. But guess what? He wasn't going to fold. That's the sign of excellent leadership. And that's what we lack in this world. Leadership and accountability. How can you be accountable when you ain't even accountable for yourself? Think about this now. This man came out here telling everybody, our relationship wasn't that close. He came out here telling everybody, yeah, we're going to release all those files. As soon as he get in office, did they release all the files? Nope. Every excuse in the world, pointing this one, that one, that one, that one. What about them files though, dog? And y'all sitting up here, everybody sitting up here going for it. People up here fighting back and forth in the comment section over nothing. Now he want to talk Obama. If you had that much smoke with Obama, why you ain't say that shit when you seen him at that funeral a couple months ago when you was dapping him up? You was cool and laughing with him then. If he was so dirty, why you ain't bring that heat to him then? Like I said before, man, this is what's going on. And you got a lot of people that's out here ducking this smoke too. In the black community support Trump, they ducking this smoke. Bought and paid for. If you see them ducking this smoke, bought and paid for. Go along, get along game. Go along, get along game.
Yeah. Well, stick a pin in that. A couple weeks or a week before that flight, I was talking to Jeffrey, and he told me that he was talking to Donald, and he asked Donald, how come you sleep with so many married women? And Donald's answer was, because it's so wrong. Now, amongst guys, it was a funny line, and then when we were on the plane a week or two later, Jeffrey asked Donald the same question. I know he did that for my benefit, so that I could hear Donald say it. And Jeffrey asked him, how come you sleep with so many married women? And Donald said, because it's so wrong. Now, it's a funny line, but the answer is not the poignant part of the story here. The question is the poignant part, because for Jeffrey to ask him that question, number one, he would have to know that Donald slept with a lot of married women, so, and he probably got that information from Donald. And
it
also,
implies a confidence.
That's not the kind of question you ask a casual acquaintance. How come you slept with so many married women? That's a question you ask a good friend that you can get away with asking those kind of questions. So that gives you an idea of how friendly they were.
Yes, it does. It certainly gives that perception. Now, okay, Mark, Trump admits they had a falling out with your brother. That's what he said happened. He has not shared what led to it. But here are some of the things that he has been willing to say about your brother. I want to play them for you.
I was not a fan of Jeffrey Epstein. I threw him out of a club. I didn't want anything to do with him. Jeffrey Epstein was not somebody that I respected.
That does not fit with what you're telling me, Mark.
Yeah, I understand it doesn't, but he's trying to cover his butt. I mean, look, I understand people trying to distance themselves from Jeffrey because of what he was charged with and the circumstances he found himself in. I understand that, but I know that they were good friends, and I witnessed it myself.
You mentioned something a moment ago that made me think of this, something that the White House told us yesterday. We talked to a woman who accused your brother of sexual assault, and she also talked about an encounter with Trump at your brother's office. This was in 1995. She found it disturbing. She said she told the FBI twice to look into people around your brother, including Trump. But she talked about this incident that she said happened in his office. And the White House, their response to us, Mark, they were categorical. They said, quote, the president was never in Epstein's office. Is that true?
That's just another blatant lie, because he was there. The people that worked for Jeffrey in his office, you can find them, they can testify.
Blatant lie. Now y'all smash the like button as y'all come on in. Y'all hear this? Jeffrey Epstein's brother, Mark Epstein, said, oh, that's a lie. They saying Trump was never in his office? That's a lie. That's a lie. And what do people say? Oh, well, Joe Biden's a liar. I don't mean nothing. They all liars. That's the problem. And people up here making excuses for the lies, pointing fingers at somebody else. How about they all got to go? How about we stop uplifting these clowns and all these people that's within this same system? And how about we get some true leadership? Y'all want to see true change? You need to get true leadership out here running. How do you get true leadership if you're raising demons? How do you get true leadership if you're raising demons? Think about what I just said. This is why it's important, if you're Joe Biden, to not let your son off the hook. You're teaching and starting or continuing a pattern of protection. Right? I'm just saying. I see the fake Rick Ross running around here on YouTube, sitting up here all the time talking about somebody, Obama, talking about this, that, and third. He won't touch this Donald Trump shit. He's scared of that smoke. Another beautiful, lovely lady who talks about all kind of issues. But I know she's a Trump supporter, but she won't talk about this. Come on now. Come on, man. We got to keep it real now. Got to keep it real all the way across the board. All the way across the board. I see more white girls talking about this than I do the black ladies who support Donald Trump. We see you. We see you. Like I said, you can't spit in my face and tell me, yo, it's raining, bro. Nah, that's spit, playboy.
That they saw Trump in Jeffrey's office on numerous occasions. You know, so for him to say he wasn't there, all I can say is that's just another lie.
So you talk about him as your brother, and you're you were on the plane together at that time. When did your brother first tell you that he was in legal trouble? When did you know anything about what he was doing?
It was about 2006 when he first got into trouble. You know, it's known prior to Jeffrey's death. You know, I hadn't seen him for 7 years, although we were always in touch, you know, communication with telephone or emails, but we just never got together. And for the 12 years prior to that period of time, from like 2004 until 2008, we only got together maybe a half a dozen times or so, but we were always in contact. And in 2006, Jeffrey asked me to come up to his place uptown. He wanted to talk to me. So I was uptown. I stopped by. I'm not uptown all that much back then. I live downtown, and I sort of joke. I say to go above 14th Street, I need a visa. But so I went to talk to him, and that's when he told me that he was getting in trouble for being with girls that were too young. He said he was stupid, but he wanted me to hear it from him as opposed to hearing it on the news or something. And that's when I first found out. In 2006.
All right, and the reason that this is so important is trying to understand what the people around Epstein would have known, separate from what any of them might have also been doing, right? So I guess the question here then, Mark, is did you have any suspicions before Jeffrey's confession to you that he was involved with underage girls?
No, because I rarely saw him, so I didn't know what he was involved with. You know, we had different lives. He had his friends, and I had my friends. We traveled in two separate circles, in a sense. A few people we knew together, but, you know, he was more in the financial community uptown. I was more involved with the arts community downtown. So we had two separate lives.
That tells me something right there, and everybody just missed it. You just missed it. Now, more than ever, I believe that Jeffrey Epstein did not take his own life based off of what his brother just said. I do not believe he took his own life. I believe Jeffrey Epstein was taken out. His brother just said that Jeffrey Epstein admitted to him personally that he had made a mistake with those youngins. If Jeffrey Epstein was willing to admit that to his brother, why would he take himself out? Why would he take himself out if he was willing to admit that to his brother? Now, he's out of here. I've seen pictures. I've seen real pictures. I can't put them on YouTube, but I've seen real pictures. I don't believe he unalived himself. I don't believe that. I believe the other way. His brother just said that he told him straight up that he had made a mistake with those young. Listen to what he said. His brother said. His brother just said that. So why would he turn around and then take himself out during the process of going through this? Make it make sense. Virginia Giuffre, how she all of a sudden passed away. We did a video on that on here. How she all of a sudden passed away. Virginia Giuffre, how she passed away just months before this happened. And they say, oh, she took herself out. Are you serious? They can't do the same thing to Ghislaine Maxwell. So now she's going to be called to do some type of private testimony, I guess. No, that should be public in front of the world in Congress. And she should be made sit up there in that seat behind those microphones and speak and answer the questions in front of the whole world. That's real transparency. That's real transparency. But I know y'all don't want that.
But we were brothers. We always stayed in touch. But the thing is, Aaron, the thing with the charges against him, that's really not my concern at this point in time. Jeffrey is dead, so I'm not the prosecutor, I'm not his defense attorney. I'm more concerned with the circumstances around what I now consider his murder.
Right. So
that's unsolved.
Did you hear what he said? He said his murder. His brother said he was murdered, and I agree with him. He didn't say he took his own self out. He said his murder. Did you hear what his brother said? His murder. His brother said he was taken out. Now, this situation has gotten very dangerous. Very dangerous. Everybody that's listening to this video, you have a chance to choose whether or not you want to walk with honor and dignity and some type of morals when it comes to this type of situations that we have from these world leaders, or whether or not you just want to hop on a side and pick a side and this, that, and the third and play these little punk games and stuff like this. And this, that, no. Let's keep that shit real, man. Donald Trump is on cap. Joe Biden on cap. Barack Obama on cap. George Bush on cap. Do you want me to keep going? All of them cap. Full of it. You damn right.
So I want to ask you that, okay? Because the Department of Justice issued that memo earlier this month, right? It's at the core of a lot of this that reads in part, and I quote, Mark, after a thorough investigation, FBI investigators concluded that Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide in his cell. Now, you say you were the one called to identify his body. You had conversations at that time, and you do not accept this finding.
No, I don't, because what they don't mention in the report, and no one says it, is that, after Jeffrey died, the next day I had to go to, number one, to identify his body, because I'm the next of kin, he's only there. And they did the autopsy then. And Dr. Roman, who was the city pathologist, it was her autopsy. And Dr. Bondman was there on my behalf because I had the right to have, the family has the right to have their own pathologist there. And they did the autopsy, and they came out of the autopsy a couple hours later, and they both concurred that they could not call this a suicide because it looked too much like a homicide. They're very clear about that.
All right, Mark, thank you so much.
There you have it. Like, oh yeah, the Clintons too. That's right. The Clintons too. Can't forget them too. They on cap too. They on cap too. I forgot about that. They on cap too. But like I said, it's kind of funny how people want to pick sides and this, that, and the third. Nah, man. We ain't picking no side on this, though. Side we picking is the truth, man. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of funny how when you look back on this situation, when you look back on all of these things and you really open your eyes, ladies and gentlemen, and you pay close attention to everything, it all makes sense. It all makes sense. The pieces, and I'm going to say this again, ladies and gentlemen, the pieces all starting to fit. Let me say that to y'all again. The pieces are all starting to fit. All of the pieces. The question is, tonight, does everybody listening to this video have enough soul, dignity, morals, ethics, honor, respect? Do they have enough to tell the truth? Or are we all going to continue to do what's been done to the good American people for decades and decades and decades, which is be lied to, which is be put against each other and used all for, others' gains? I'll just leave it at that. Ladies and gentlemen, all the pieces fit. They all fit. It's almost like the WWE. They hate each other until nobody else is around. Right? I'll say it to y'all again. They hate each other until nobody else is around, man. See, you guys, don't get played, man. That's the worst thing we can do as a people. As a people, right? Because I want to say something to you. If I really dislike you that much, on that much of a level, I just have so much disdain for you. You know, if I'm Trump and I really hate Barack Obama that much, would you ever see me chopping it up with him, shooting the shit? They got all these people going at it online, each other, tearing each other apart online. Meanwhile, all the pieces fit, man. They all fit. They all fit. I'm gonna lock her up. I'm gonna lock him up. I'm gonna lock him up. They all on cap, bro. All of them.
Hey, I really appreciate you guys for supporting the channel, supporting the network. Like, share, and subscribe. Once again, there are links. Get the free membership on our website. That way you guys won't miss any of our news update stories or videos. They're all on the website, ticketvmedia.com. You go over there. You can go right to the members part and become a free member. That way you guys will get all the updates. Also, Straight Drought Weight Loss Formula. Make sure y'all go tap in and copy some of that, as well as subscribing to our podcast show. Link will be pinned at the top of the chat down there below. And also, we just appreciate all y'all who support the channel. Cash App, PayPal.